Oh, geez. Like, if ever there was a sign that I was tired, like this, that was almost on par with the one time when I reviewed a Spider-Man Far From Home, and I did like a recording that I thought was going, and then it wasn't on, and then I did another one that also didn't record, and then by the time I actually did a review of the movie, it was the third attempt. That's probably the worst. That was the worst. Was Far From Home, man. That's a sign that I'm tired. I'm gonna start the spiel again because I thought I was on a good roll. But yeah, that's the second attempt. I tried to do this stream, and I didn't have the sound on, and I wasn't even paying attention to the little indicators there. And thank you for the subscriber that let me know. Oh wow, no wonder. I was like, usually I get a few people. Why are they leaving so quick? I'm like, oh, they can't even hear what I'm saying. Yes, welcome to a late night hangout. If people want to drop by, ask questions about stuff, feel free. I'm just gotta kind of let you guys know about an update. I've had a long day. Kind of some stuff happened, like with just kind of just some kind of serious stuff with hospitals and whatnot. So I don't know. It's been a long couple of days, and I've been tired, and I feel like I was kind of running a little behind with stuff on the channel. Last video I did was actually podcast with my buddy Justin talking about Mothra. So feel free to check out There Goes Tokyo, one of the segments, kind of a sequel to our Godzilla, kaiju movie reviews. So hopefully we'll do more of those. I think we're going to talk about Gamera, the first Gamera film next time. So hopefully that, if we enjoy doing those, we'll probably experiment, do some more less obvious Godzilla movies. Because a couple years ago, we kind of talked about most of the Godzilla movies in anticipation for the 2014 one. And now with hopefully Godzilla versus Kong, maybe eventually coming, we decided to tackle some other ones. So that's a podcast I'm doing with him. But yeah, it'd been over a week because this stuff happened last week, so it just kind of threw everything off. And I had like a Flamethrowers in Cinema and a Joe Loves Movies. I watched the movie for Flamethrowers in Cinema, but I gotta kind of finish those. But yeah, me and Lucille. Hey Merlin, which anime left you with a headache after watching it? Like just one time, or like after I finished the series, a headache. Is there an anime that actually left me feeling like I had like a headache or something at the end? Actually, yeah. Oh man, what was that called? It's actually kind of a popular one. It was one of those. Oh man, I'm gonna have to look it up because I only watched a bit of it. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up because man, I don't even remember. It's tired. I'm late. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be a little slower with the questions. Okay. Answers to the questions rather. Kami anime. What was that called? I forget what that was called. Like left me with a headache. I used to know what it was. No, it's not. It's not that one. That's not To the Haru. It's not Fumofu. Man. Not Airmaster. I thought Airmaster was actually kind of cool. Actually. All right, I'm gonna figure this out because I'm no, not. It was a comedy that I think I didn't get because I thought it was too hyperactive and didn't translate for me. I think a lot of those anime comedies I've noticed I'm not quite as up on. Um, nope, no. Mm-mm. I hope it's on here. Oh my goodness, nope, nope, nope. Now I'm determined to find. I can't. No, not Gintama. I like Gintama. Oh my goodness. That was maybe it's not that good of a show because it's not all right. I'm gonna try another one. Oh my goodness. Hold on. This is wait. What it wasn't Lucky Star, I don't think, but it was kind of like Lucky Star. Oh man. Nope, not wait, was Oz no, wait a minute. Was Ozumonga die? Wait a minute. Let me actually look into this. Hold on. Maybe it is what I'm thinking. Hold on. It will help it. Okay, if I clicked on it, That would help too. Um, I think that might be what I'm thinking of. Hold on. Is it? It's not. It's not Lucky Star, is it? I want to say I don't think it was Lucky Star because I don't think Lucky Star annoyed me that much. Mother, I'm actually really mad about this. Like I know a good answer to the question and it's eluding me. Um, Gave me a headache. Like I have a specific answer because I think it actually was like sensory issue, like with my head. Just I did hurt, give me a headache with the somebody was playing it really loud or something. I'm gonna figure this out. I apologize. Send in questions if you're still watching. This just derailed me. No. I saw a little bit of Akatsuko, if that counts as anime. I guess it does, but The Devil is a Part Timer is coming up on here as a great comedy anime, and I haven't watched any of it, but I've heard cool. No, Hitalia is pretty funny, actually. I remember Hitalia or in high school, close couple. Maybe this anime is not that well liked. I remember people talked about it more back in the day, but I'm looking up like the top, like it's just not coming up. This is really actually kind of annoying. This is, oh man. Assassination Clash was cool. I'm just listening. I'm just listing stuff. Fairy Tale. Okay, Fairy Tale kind of annoyed me, but it I didn't hate it though. Um, I'm like, I kind of like Wallflower. Actually, I thought Wallflower was entertaining. My Bride is a Mermaid, Fumufu, Toradora. Azumanga Daioh is cute. I actually kind of liked Inuyasha back in the day. I didn't really like Rosario plus Vampire, but it didn't really give me a headache. I just watched like one episode of it and I was like, eh. Okay, now we're just getting to stuff I know. I guess Dragon Ball Cuts. Baka and Test. This is really irritating me. Wow. Wait. Wait. I think I found it. I think I have an answer to your question. I think I know what it is. Man, I could not remember the name of it. Please let this be it so I can answer the question. Maybe that can't be it. Is that what it is? I think I I'm pretty sure an anime that yep, that's the one. Okay. Wow, I could not remember what it was. Jeez. Okay. Hope this is enough anticipation for you. An anime that no, not familiar with Zero. Excel Saga. I watched that. Like I remember this was years ago. It was one of those things put on the background. It was a couple episodes in a row, and it was very like fast paced, hyperactive. I didn't really get the humor. It really annoyed me. I couldn't get into it. Excel Saga is just one of those anime that I believe some people have considered it a classic. It's like very, I think it's supposed to be kind of meta, and there's like a lot of cultural stuff relevant to, I guess, Japanese culture and pop culture and just tropes with anime that at the time maybe I didn't get. Like I said, it's been like a good 10 years or more since I even watched it. But yeah, Excel Saga is probably one that actually did give me a headache. So sorry about that question taking so long. I just, like I said, I've had a long day. I don't know where I was. So think of other questions. I'm going to keep ranting in the meantime, giving you guys an update. But had a couple other segments I was thinking about. There's Comics Without Context, where I look at different random issues of comics without. Oh, okay, you know about that one. Yeah, the main character is kind of annoying. That I think that was my main issue with it. I didn't really like her very much. The voice acting too. It was like that. It was just it wasn't my thing. It really wasn't. And I think a lot of anime in that style I've never really, I don't know, gravitated to, I suppose. But yeah, I'm gonna do some comic book stuff, I guess, reacting to some certain issues out of context of their storylines. And I actually picked a bunch that, thanks to Comic Vine, I was able to find them and find random issues of comics that I can look at, and hopefully that'll be entertaining. Also going to do this thing called Best Worst Episode Ever, kind of inspired by The Simpsons, where I look at the highest rated episode from IMDb or something of a certain series. It could be like a TV show, live action, or it could be a film franchise or an anime, and just something like Star Trek, and see if I agree with whether it's the best or the worst rated. So that's another idea. Wanted to kick around with those. Kind of was working pretty hard on at kind of editing some of those film film videos. I've really been liking doing kind of as tributes to movies I love with Joe Loves Movies and Flamethrowers in Cinema. So if you're interested, that's actually kind of a specialized video made for my one patron over on Patreon, Grendel Keen. So Flamethrowers in Cinema was kind of his idea, sort of, and I kind of ran with it and made a character, and I've had a lot of fun with those. So if you want a personalized video, feel free to, send over there and see if you want to kind of support me for a couple months. That might be kind of cool. Any help is appreciated. But I'm gonna try and see if I can get back to doing some anime and comic book character analysis stuff. But I actually need time to kind of go back and watch some series that I'm interested in and kind of get the passion back for it in certain areas. So we'll see. I know you guys kind of want some of those, but I'm always welcome to ideas and requests for things. Let's see. What is my favorite alternative version of a comic book character? Alternative. You mean like kind of alternate to the main version? Favorite alternate version. For some reason, the first thing that came to mind was 2099 Spider-Man, just because I really like his outfit. But that's probably not my favorite version. Give me a second. I'm thinking of Elseworld stuff, alternate timeline stuff. I really like the Old Man Logan, which is kind of a slight variation on the normal Wolverine, where he's just kind of really old and he's got the Mad Max dystopian future ahead of him. He just kind of he supposedly wiped out all the X-Men. That's a pretty good version of Logan. I think that the movie was kind of inspired by it a little bit. But an alternate version of the character. Okay, I've got two answers for you. Actually, I've got two answers. If it's an alternate version of original character, I would say actually Spider-Man. The within the comics, I really like Spider-Man Noir. I think that one is very different from the actual character of Spider-Man, how he's typically portrayed. But I just really like the noir feel. I kind of like the storyline. I like that version of the Vulture. The Vulture is actually my favorite Spider-Man villain, and that's not my favorite version of the character, but he's a pretty demented, violent version. And I really thought that was a completely wild take. Like the core essence of Spider-Man's there, but it's stylistically, it's so different. It's just almost its own thing entirely. So probably noir. But as much as I like the original version of the character in the main universe traditionally that I grew up with Spider-Man, I still prefer it overall. I still think that the Ultimate Spider-Man comics were like probably the best written version of the character most consistently. Like that Ultimate run with Peter Parker was just really, really good. It was some of the best comics I've ever read. Were that original run back in the day, probably about 20 years ago when it started. But those original Ultimate comics were really good. Pre Miles Morales stuff. But I guess of the same version of the character, that would probably be my favorite, actually. Let me see. What else did I want to kind of update you guys on? Yeah, I guess some like little promotional things, shout out stuff to fill the time here. Hey, Zach, welcome. Sending questions, hanging out. Feel free to share it, like the video, get more people involved. And the more people are here, the longer I'll stay. And in the meantime, I'm going to give you guys updates and talk about random things on my mind. Let's see. Somebody just liked. Thank you. Oh man, lost my train of thought. I'm tired. Yes, I'm currently. I've got a bunch of videos on my other channel up with my buddy Gimli, Drinkable Alchemy. We review beers and other content. Hero, what's up? Beers and other alcoholic beverages. I've got a lot of videos I'm editing over there, so that's been pretty fun. Taking up a lot of my time. I've actually, like I said, I'm kind of behind with a lot of things with stuff going on. but I did get an video uploaded today. So please, if you guys are interested in watching us drink things and be silly, that's kind of been like a big project for me to kind of encourage me to work on my editing. And I've really liked a lot of the videos I've done there, just having fun with that. And we need more subscribers. We need people to grow. So feel free to check us out. We really would appreciate that. Let's see. That's one thing I wanted to let you guys know about. And also a couple other things. First of all, Anime Hero, who's actually in the chat here, he has been making some, awesome, good quality videos for quite some time. And I want to say, actually, really, I think he's really just been stepping up his game even more. I'm really enjoying seeing his channel grow. I think he recently celebrated like 17,000 subscribers or something. So I haven't seen him do it yet. But he does have a Patreon as well. And I didn't check it to see. I'm supporting him on there. I think he's got another patron. And I hope he doesn't think I'm buttering him up here. But I really do think Hero has just some of the best videos I've seen in terms of pristine editing and everything, especially for anime-related content of that particular niche, the masculine uber fighting anime and more obscure anime of the 80s and 90s. Just obviously he's got the Devilman content, but might be thinking I've got some vested interest saying that. But in all honesty, I think Hero's videos are really good, and I want to see him continue to grow. And I'm supporting him, and I want people to, if you are not supporting him, please, like him, share his videos if you enjoy his content. But if you feel like it, support him on Patreon. You can use the support to grow. Anime Hero is he's doing a good job, and I'm still glad to see that. So, Hero, I'd like to see you actually make an official video sponsoring that Patreon more, man. I want you to grow because he's working on a story. He's kind of been playing around with this this like novel, comic book, visual, audio. There's like this multimedia project. It's basically like a comic manga thing he's been developing for a while. And I think that as his videos grow, as his channel grows, I think that's like something he wants to focus his creative time on too. And I can relate because I've been working on a novel that I'm currently editing. So I'm going to let you guys know about that as I go along. So other pursuits and things. And in addition to that, I've also been writing a lot of short stories and stuff. So there's other stuff. And I know Hero really wants to have time to work on his art and to work on the writing. And, any support he has can kind of help with that. And I think it's mostly he just needs help to buy media so he can provide anime reviews, because sometimes it's hard to monetize things and it can be a pain. So, fan support is great, and I appreciate everybody that, still supports me, as inconsistent as I sometimes am with my content and with things going on. I appreciate it, and I know Hero appreciates it too. So please, I see questions coming in, so I will answer them in a second. Thank you. Like, share, subscribe, more people. And I was tired, but I got this burst of energy. So if you more people here, the longer it'll go on. I don't know if I'll beat Hero though. By the way, that face reveal, people loved it, and the main thing was, oh, he's so young. That's great. But yeah, more face reveals, Hero. People like it, and yeah, it was awesome. It was really cool. But what was I saying? Oh yeah. Also, I wanted to give like another minor. Oh, also, yeah. My buddy, also Dan of Dan Reviews It. He's been on the channel a little bit. He mostly just talks about movies and TV and stuff. But over on his channel, I've also been pretty active. We have been reviewing old like TV shows and stuff. We're talking about Freaks and Geeks now, and sometimes we do like random movie discussions and we review food and stuff. So I'm over there. If you like movie, if you like TVs, a TV like on streaming services, and he's really good about being up to date. Like he puts out content almost every day since the quarantine started, like trying to keep active, you keep him focused. So if you're interested in what's going on TV and movies, he's pretty good about that. So please, subscribe him or at least check him out. See if you like any of his videos. I'm over there sometimes. So he's growing a lot too. Like he's been reviewing like shows like The Conners, like mostly sitcoms and stuff. But and the Masked Singer, whatever that is, it's like a reality show. But he's been blowing up like slowly. I think he's like over 500. He's steadily growing. So I'm happy to see he's really getting some good feedback. People like a lot of his videos. So if you're interested in that stuff at all, or even interested in some of the videos I'm on, please, check out stuff and give him more subscribers, because Dan's pumping it out, man. Like I wish I had his energy and his free time. I don't know. He does it. But okay, I'll pay attention to the comments before I fill in time with random rants as I sometimes do. Let's see. Jogging King, yes. Oh, okay. Of course, yeah, he has this thing where he likes to do the comparison things I've noticed in the chat. So try not to repeat yourself too many times, man, because I think you've asked me some of the same questions a couple times in these streams. But I do want to thank you though, because you've been requesting more streams and Q&As and different things. So I appreciate that, man. But this is a good one. Darker Arc. Okay, classic Hunter x Hunter conversation. Chapter Black Saga or the Chimera Ant arc. I think it depends on how you want to look at it. They both are pretty dark. I mean, I guess the ants and their view as a species and in relation to humanity is probably darker on a bigger scale. I always kind of liked the more intimate, personal element of Chapter Black, though, because I guess there is like the world-ending nature of Sensui's plan. I think Sensui's character might kind of elevate it a little more in terms of darkness, just him. But I think that Chimera Ant arc might be darker thematically, if that makes any sense. That's a tough one. I'd probably go with Chapter Black on that one, but it's pretty close. Which fictional character do you think has the best laugh? Well, that's a good question. That's a really hard question. I want to say Mark Hamill's Joker, but that's too easy. I really like Mr. Burns' laugh. Yeah. He's got a good one. I like Perfect Cell's laugh. Wow. Mickey Mouse's laugh is kind of annoying. Now that I'm on the spot, I don't know. Probably Mark Hamill's Joker is probably the most iconic laugh I can think of. Though if I can think of a better answer, I'll let you know. Man, that was a good question. You're welcome, Hero. Seriously, man, you make good stuff. Glad you're growing. And a lot of people say you're underrated. I agree. I think you deserve more subscribers. I think it's like you got the best of both things. I mean, you've got a very niche focus, a very niche audience. So like the people kind of know what they want, you know what to give them. Like it works. But it's kind of like being an anime content creator in general. Is like, even though it's a lot more mainstream, it's still like you've got the anime niche, but you've also got like a particular type of series with a particular type of style that a lot of people like, but not like a whole lot of people like. So you've got, people are really interested in your stuff because you're still focused, but it might not be the biggest audience. So it's kind of like it varies. But I do actually, Hero, I did have two things. I kind of was wondering, and you can adjust your tiers as you go, because I don't want you to get overwhelmed with it. But I know that a lot of people for tiers, like they do kind of behind the scenes stuff, and they show like editing stuff or extra content. Sometimes people have their requests if it's a big enough tier. So I don't know. I'm hoping, because I know you like it, and I know it's part of your channel too. Your interest in toys and action figures and the collectibles in general. I like those videos too. I'd like to see more stuff with that. I think some other people would too. So definitely still do that if you enjoy it. So I'd still say keep that up. Oh wow, more questions. I think. What games do you stream ever? Oh yeah, that's right. Thank you for reminding me, Zach. I that's another thing. Like I said, I don't know when this is gonna get off the ground. Like like I said, like this past week, I had some more free time and I was hoping to like stream like one or two games like on the channel just because I'd have a day. But then I had like family emergency and like this whole last this last like 4 or 5 days has just been exhausting. My mind hasn't really been too much on channel stuff, and I've been kind of like trying to force myself to do a little bit of it, but like I really wanted to sit down and okay, like here's the thing. I've got like girlfriend's kind of got the PlayStation in different areas, so I'm not always kind of down there. I got to go downstairs and set it up, and that's easier because I could play some of the PS4 games directly to the channel. But I actually for the heck of it, I've kind of been getting a lot more into gaming the past couple months, like really kind of before the pandemic a little bit. I had a little more time to do it. And I actually want to go back and play a lot of classic games because there's stuff that I either haven't played in a long time or stuff that I never played before. Like I got a bunch of stuff on Steam, pretty much anything from like the SNES, Sega Genesis era, to a bunch of like PS1 and N64 games I missed, and some other classic things. Like I never, like for instance, the big one was like I really liked Oblivion, Elder Scrolls Oblivion, but I never really played it. Like I'd wander around and because I was so like blown away by the graphics and stuff at the time. But I actually went through and actually like played the main story, and then I did Skyrim and been going Morrowind. So there's that. I have a Twitch that I've set up. It's just Merlin Plays stuff. So if you want to follow me on Twitch, guys, feel free to, because I am planning on trying to do some stream stuff just for the heck of it, because Zoro told me it was kind of something to do. I'm like, I want to do that, just do something different, kind of more laid back. So either here, I might do some streaming and also on the Twitch. So Merlin Plays stuff. I'm promoting a lot of random things today, but yeah, that's another thing I'm going to do. So pretty much anything, most of the stuff that I would stream, recommend stuff to me. So anything I could get from the Xbox store, anything from the first Xbox all the way to like, anything more modern. I mean, might not get the newest stuff because money's tight, but seriously, I'll probably mostly some old shooters that I wanted to play that I was kind of nostalgic with my friends, like Black, Star Wars Battlefront 2, Time Splitters, maybe some of the older Call of Duties, not the newer ones so much, Halo, just to kind of get me started. And then I might start doing more RPGs. Like I think Joggin actually wanted me to do Jump Force, like maybe some more anime themed games, some superhero stuff that I like, action adventure, just stuff I haven't tried. Like you guys, if you guys recommend something to me, maybe that's a classic game, even from the last couple of years I haven't played. I'll stream it on Twitch. I just have to get a schedule. I'm planning on doing them on Tuesdays, probably Tuesday afternoon, like maybe every other, like around noon for a couple hours. My goal is Tuesdays, Twitch Tuesday, alliteration. So if you guys have recommendations, I kind of on here, so it'll either be on Twitch or it'll be here. I also want to play some Final Fantasy stuff again. I never played Persona 5. Want to go back and play some of the Persona games, some other old RPGs I want to do. I also kind of want to go back and play the Spider-Man PS4 game again because it was really good. I was thinking I could just stream that and play that again. That was awesome. And we were playing through Final Fantasy VII, the remake, but we never finished. So I'd like to do that again. And I know that there's a bunch of things, but for me, things that I'd actually want to kind of know what I'm doing and not really, or not care that much and just talk. It'd probably mostly be shooters, fighting games, action adventure stuff. Like that's probably like my favorite thing would be action adventure stuff based around probably a property, like a superhero stuff. Though I also really like the Hitman games, so like a stealth assassin thing, Metal Gear, something like that. Not Metal Gear. Well, yeah, Metal Gear, but Splinter Cell is more my thing. Metal Gear I haven't played too much of, but basically the list of games you guys could recommend that I can try and play is practically inexhaustible. I have probably thousands of hours of video games I'd like to play. So, but hoping to stream on Twitch and here, hopefully Tuesdays afternoons. But like I said, coming weeks, months, it's hard to say. But that is something I would like to do in the not too distant future, and I will give you guys an update on that. So I hope that answered the question. But see, I realize Chapter Black Saga is a prototype. Yep, Carmant, considering both speak on humanity and darkness and wickedness. Yes. And that's kind of one of the very interesting things about Togashi's work is there's a lot of stuff that's echoed in both series. It's just the brevity of Hakusho that gives it that strength, I think, why people still talk about it, because most shonen battle series go on way too long. That's the biggest problem. Like, Bleach back here, and even Sailor Moon to an extent for the magical girl side, but like they go on too long. It's one of the oldest issues, too much filler, too much padding. Hakusho is one of the few that doesn't have that problem, and it can focus more on stories, and the fights are tighter. I think there was more of a budget for the animation. So I think that's one reason it holds up. And Hunter x Hunter, I think, it's a classic, one of the staples of the channel. Um, for sure. I think for this channel, but when will be completed, who knows? And those hiatuses, obviously. I think it has a lot of potential, but that's why there's always going to be that comparison. If it ever finished, it could possibly be better. Who could say? Uh, yeah, yeah, that reveal is bad. Spoilers. Y- um, Hero, you don't look that young to me because I know you. I've known you're about the same age as me, but you know I'm at the point now where I think I shave and I wouldn't look that much younger, to be completely honest with you. But you have a very youthful face, man, and you shouldn't worry about it. I mean, like you look young, you age well. You don't look your age, so it's not a bad thing. It's just like people you don't look like you're 12 or anything, but you look young. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Healthy, man. Uh, Thoughts on the new CG loop in the third movie? I've only seen clips. I think Hero, did you release a new like article or video about that? I saw that. Is that the that's like a big deal. I think that apparently that I don't know much about it. I'll probably watch it if people want me to. I'm kind of really behind on my Lupin stuff, but I do like it. There's a lot of Lupin I need to watch, but I'd watch it. It's um, I'm trying to think of CG anime. It's is it like actual CG recreated, or is it like that kind of like anime made CG like a lot of shows are now? Because I don't really like that style quite as much. I'll have to watch a trailer or something. Bleach is cool. Bleach was cool back kind of in the earlier sagas, and I think Naruto was stronger too. Those are both shows that have some cool elements, but I think both of them probably went on a bit too long. Um, Favorite character: Hakusho, Hunter x Hunter, Brotherhood. Hiei, Kahlua, and Roy Mustang. All good choices. Favorite Hakusho character. Let's see if it's changed at all. Um. Uh. hmm. I'm always torn with Hakusho between Kurama and Kuwabara because I think Kurama's probably my favorite character because I just like his demeanor, his calm, cool demeanor, and I love that he seems like he's not that intimidating. But probably more than anybody, he will just completely wreck you. It's just that he's like the beautiful, graceful flower, but then you know complete destruction. Like, oh man. So, I also like his backstory. I just think he's the tactician. You know, he's sort of like the wise mind of the group. So I really like him a lot. Kurobar is good for the humor and the being the more grounded one. And I think he probably has the. I like it when he's sort of like the Krillin of the group because as we know, his power doesn't really increase as much as the others do, but his arc kind of completes in a satisfying way, which, kind of gets overshadowed in shows like this, but I like that. I also just like his pompadour and I like the spirit sword, I like that stuff. So, you know, you know, Kurobar is great. So to me, as a feel good character, um, Hunter x Hunter. Man, hmm, hmm. That's tougher actually. Kind of would be similar, wouldn't it? I'll mix it up though. I'll say, well, oh, okay, well, I don't know if that really answers the question, but I guess technically he's a character. I guess Hisoka's still my favorite just because he's such a creepy villain. He's so creepy. Oh man, and I just love his first fight with Gon, the first big one. It's just there's so much going on there that just kind of Orio's pretty cool too, for the good guys at least. But Hunter x Hunter has a lot of really interesting side characters. Um, yeah, yeah. I want to say, mm, pro- mm, Yeah, that's probably correct. For Brotherhood specifically, hmm, not FMA 2003 because he knows how I feel about that. Brotherhood, my favorite character in Brotherhood specifically. Well, no, that's tough. So I'm like, I have to pick the Brotherhood version more than the 2003 series. Doing to me, man. Um, oh, ow. Sorry to make you wait. I'm really thinking about it because I really genuinely think a lot of them are better in the 2003 one character wise. I mean, for different reasons, but I'll say villain again. I actually really like Pride a lot in Brotherhood because Pride in the original show was basically Bradley, and we never really got to see he was menacing, but we never got to see him be quite as menacing, I think, as he was in Brotherhood. Um, uh, but Pride in Pride Pride and Brotherhood was really scary and intimidating. I like the shadow powers and just like the hatred for the Elric brothers and humanity was very very pronounced there for sure. Yeah, I would say so. He'd probably be my favorite actually, just from Brotherhood alone. Um, that was a hard question actually. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Mustang is a great choice too. Miriam, yeah, Miriam's good. Miriam's good. Hope the Lumen movie does something new. I'm worried that the animation will do the heavy lifting. Yeah, I mean, they're probably hoping. I'm guessing if it's this new reworking that animation will be the selling point, and I'm sure it'll. I've heard that it's really people are really interested in it, so it'll probably blow people away. But yeah, a good story. I've always believed is probably the most important fact. Not always in a piece of entertainment. Like sometimes I do like the style over substance. I can be fine with that, but I think it's good characters, plot overall, and how it moves. It's the structure of the story. I think has to kind of be there for most people to because if it doesn't resonate emotionally, doesn't care how good the action is, the art. Like I've seen a lot of anime, for instance, that has like some of the most recent Miyazaki stuff and Ghibli stuff. There was like the oh yeah, was like the Whisker. Or so what we watched some anime on Netflix. It was like about this girl that got her body changed with a cat, and I think Ghibli did it. And it was pretty, but, like, it was just kinda slow, and the story could have been chopped down, like, it was so they could have pretty animation, but if the story isn't there, it doesn't resonate as much. Let's see. Top 5 favorite anime. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Questions coming in. Top 5 favorite anime and manga characters. Mine are Hiei, Yusuke, Killua, Roy Mustang, and Goku. I picked two Hakusho characters, but I love Yusuke and Hiei's characters. Okay, so you're trying to kind of do one per series. Well, all right. Well, if I okay, well, so should I pick 5 anime series or manga characters from different shows, or should I if I could I overlap? What would you okay? All right. Well, I'll try to divide them by series. Wait, so you said favorite anime characters. Okay. Okay. So this is actually a hard question. I don't know if I've ever thought about this. Okay. Like my favorite anime character. I should have made this list. Why didn't I make this list? Wow. That seems really obvious now. I'll have to think. This is obviously from the top of my head. Give me a second, people. Keep sending your questions in. I'm sorry. This is a stump one. I'm okay, man. Mm. I'll try and give explanations. Oh man, I might change my mind on some of these, but this is I'm gonna go from just what I guess feels like the right answer. Pure, no analysis. Then to try to back it up with analysis in a second. Um, well, these are favorites, so personal favorite, not necessarily best friend or anything, but maybe. Hmm. Oh, geez. um, Krillin. Krillin is number one. I think we all know this. Krillin is ultimate underdog. Um, love Krillin. Krillin's a great character. He's gotten a lot more love in recent times. A lot of humor. Really liked the short that Team Four Star did with him. It actually made me feel real good. His date with 18. That's the stuff I want to see from Dragon Ball. Is just them doing normal stuff. Because like one of the great things about Dragon Ball, and in a way, the fandom afterwards with all the jokes and the skits and everything is we kind of grew up with these characters and they grew up with us, and it's a really fascinating, interesting, cool thing. You could say about a lot of things, but I really love how the Dragon Ball fandom grew. But Krillin, I'm going to say, is number one. I'm gonna try not to overlap, and then I might go back and overlap. But I really want to say Piccolo too. Just Piccolo is so cool. Piccolo is really good, and I mean, I love his calm demeanor. I love his backstory. I love how gruff he is. He's intimidating but graceful. He's got all this rage that he's dealing with, the dark side. I like the clashing of him and Kami, the two sides of the individual coming together, making peace in themselves, and for like a higher calling. And I just think he looks cool. He's got the awesome cape. Chris Sabat's great. Let's see. Those are the first two that came to mind, and I don't want them all to be Dragon Ball characters, so I'll push Piccolo to the side for a second. Maze Hughes from FMA is kind of like I don't know. I've always kind of thought as like an extension of me. If I was in an anime in a lot of ways, I'd like to think I was a good guy like that, down to earth and trying to do the best he can. Maybe a little in over his head, but trying to be a good guy. I'd like to think that values of family are good, and I feel like if I had a daughter that I thought was cute, I would do the exact same thing, and probably irritate some people I know, but yeah, I probably. Um, okay, we'll say Krillin, we'll say Mace Hughes, obviously both Sunny straight, so interesting. We go there. Let's try to get away from the two favorite shows, or else it'll just be three from those shows. Let's be honest. Um, Hmm, try to make it a little more interesting for folks. I'll give you one. Kanbei from Samurai 7. I love that stoic leader character, war hero. I love his banding together of the different samurai. I love his code. I just feel like I'd follow that guy. Like he just instills me with confidence. Samurai 7. You haven't seen another one of my favorite anime. I love it. And he can chop through a giant robot mecha samurai. So who can do that? Not many, I don't think. Not with a sword. Like, come on. So that's awesome. Kanbei from Samurai 7. This one's a little more cliche, but I don't think that this show is like one of my favorites, but then I realize more and more it is. It's one of those. But Fascist Stampede from Trigun, like I know a lot of people like Kenshin, and I can understand that. But there is something about the peaceful warrior thing that I think is really interesting and very commendable. And I think Vash, I like the humor, and I love his design. I love the cape. I love the color of it. I love the guns. I love the whole space western motif. I've been wanting to run a D&D campaign kind of based around space westerns for a while, and I think I want to do like a Trigun, Firefly, Cowboy Bebop esque thing, but mostly like ground based. I really like that show a lot, just for the atmosphere and the setting and the themes, of course. But I really like the character a lot. So let's say we had Krillin, and we had Maze Hughes, we had Kanbei for Samurai 7, and we had Vash Stampede. So number five. Number five. Who's going to be number five for the favorites? For the favorites. Hmm. No, that can't be right. Give me a second. Give me a second. I'm trying to pick mostly good characters because I think that's like a good theme to go with consistently. Mm, mm. Kind of going through some of my favorite shows. Do. Um, uh, wow. That Got me on the spot here. Okay, I'm gonna get there. I promise. Just it's tired. I'm tired. It's late. Trying to think of who would be the number five character who's from a different show. Um, don't know what I'm saying. Um, oh man, how about how about actually I also really like it's a bit of a toss up, but I really like Dr. Tenma from Monster. I think is just like another grounded kind of good person who's just kind of really on towing that line with his just pursuit to kind of go after Johan and try to make up for what he did. I mean that's more of like just from a writing and character standpoint, but I feel like he kind of brings that extra level of humanity that you don't often see in anime that kind of keeps it grounded. So, like I said, these answers could change if I had more time to think and look through my list and stuff. I mean, if I went purely nostalgic, it would be different. But like like for instance, like Shao Tucker a lot as a villain. He's like one of my favorite villains, and I like Tekka Man Blade. You know, I just even though he's like a very generic anime hero, I got to do a video about that show sometime. But like, I just love him. He's kind of good for that, and I like Gon a lot, and I like Tagoro, and I like Kenshiro, and I've always liked Souther and Jotaro, and I've always liked Gara and Ichigo, and just like bunch of people. I mean, I like I like Astro Boy. I mean, I don't know. Now I'm just listing people, but a bunch. Bunch of characters. I like Revolutionary Utena. I think Utena is a great female character. I really like Sailor Moon. I love the Sailor Scouts are all great. Sailor Jupiter is my favorite. Um, let's see. Hitomi from Escaflowne is a great female character. I really like her. I like a lot of the people in Escaflowne. Oh, let's see. I like the villains. I like Knives a lot from Trigun. I think he's a really great underrated villain. But yeah, I went well beyond my top five. But I could list more for sure. But I'll move on to some other questions. But man, okay. No, I have not seen Alone Together. 4 eps as a companion piece to Deep Space Nine with actual. Oh, really? No. Oh, yes, I did. Is that like table read they kind of did? Yeah, I did. I didn't watch it, but a lot of the cast came back for that. I don't know if Avery Brooks came back. That's right. Hero's been in a Star Trek. I'd like to see a Star Trek video at some point. I hope I don't know if people would like it that much, but I'd be cool to see that. Should promote Star Trek randomly. See the manliest Star Trek character. You still couldn't answer that. It's probably Cisco. So Hero, I remember when you got done with Next Gen, you were like, I think I'm done with Star Trek for a bit, but then you started DS9, man, and you were like, so what is it? Is it Voyager next? Is it Enterprise next? Discovery, Picard, Lower Decks? How all in are we gonna go? Is Hero gonna be the number one Trek fan? I'm telling you, I love that you're getting into it. Like you and Zorro, it's great. When people just randomly get into something at a different time and you see them like really appreciating it. Like my buddy Wheeler the Healer. Yeah, he's getting into JoJo now, like the last year or so, and just cool seeing him go through the arcs and talk about it. I'm like, it's just kind of funny. I'm like, I've known about all this stuff for years, and I'm like, I feel so like old school because I just knew the OVA for a long time. That's like the main thing I had for years, and I really just liked that, and that was like the foundation for a lot of my knowledge. And now I'm just like, I like to see it's grown and people are getting into it as new fans, and I'm just like, I feel like I don't know, it's cool. It's really cool. Do you have a favorite Star Trek episode, Hero? Um, oh yes, and Hero got a question from me and the Seal. One thing I hope is to get Togashi finishing Hunter x Hunter the right way. Well, if he gets to finish it, I know that he's got a lot going on. Um, Yeah, they follow shonen tropes, but the thing is they don't they're not very cliche, they're not very obvious, and I think like Hakusho is a bit more obvious in its tropes. Clearly, I mean they've got set up battles. They've got the henchman you fight, and then they've got the main guy. They've clearly got arcs. People get power ups. They work together. There's training parts. They've got the tournament arc. They're it's very shonen. I think what distinctively sets it apart, though, I guess, is just the level at which they focused on character and themes, and the fact that the story was a little more complicated than a lot of the stuff that was on at the time. I think really is what sets it apart, and it's and also that shorter runtime. It's you can get through it easier, and it doesn't really waste any time. So, but it follows tropes. Hunter, though, it expands on things, on the lore, on the power sets to intimate detail, and it kind of it does things out of order. Like you don't just fight henchmen and then meet the boss and beat him. Like that doesn't happen all the time. Like in Hunter x Hunter, the main character's Gon, and he doesn't really beat like the main villain that often. Really, that's not what he does. I mean, like, it's not. It's usually somebody else that steps in. He's kind of like another character in a bigger story. And that's the thing I always liked about Gon. And to some sense, My Hero Academia kind of does this a bit too. But Gon, he's just a kid. He's got the strength, obviously, with his Nen abilities. But there's so many other people that are more powerful and skilled than him, and it's clear. And he's not just going to go in and win because of some power up, because of friendship, or because he's the protagonist and just become predictable. He has to really work for it. He has to earn it. He has to learn. He has to fail. He has to strategize. People have to team up together to take out some guy just to barely survive. Like those early, like that's why the fight with Hisoka is so great, because that just would have gone down differently in most other series. And the fact you have this main villain, come up that the main hero loses and then potentially could come back. It over time, it kind of feels like they shuffled around the way the arcs work, which is if a shonen anime series was more realistic, that's kind of how it would be, I guess. But that's why I think it's really fun that Hunter x Hunter plays with tropes more so than maybe Hakusho does. But yeah, they both definitely still are, but they play with things differently. Let's see. Welcome, people. Send in some questions and share it, like it, and bring more people in. And then conversation might go on longer. Hopefully, won't keep me up too late because I got to go to sleep eventually. Let's see. What movie you hated at first but really grew on you? Oh, hated but really grew on me. Hated. Like there's movies that like I'm not super crazy about, but over time I appreciate more and maybe I start to like more. But like a movie that I hated it, but then I came around and then like, but okay. So don't like love it, but I hated it, but then it kind of grew on me. Like I didn't hate it as much. That's a really good question, actually. And I feel like there's probably an answer, and it's just not going to come to me right away. Um, hmm. Give me a second. Send in questions, people. I promise I'll get to it. You guys are giving me some questions for me to think about because I'm like, I don't know. Like, all right, a movie that I really hated, but then it grew on me. Actually, I have one. And maybe it's not. It's one. Okay, there's actually a couple. And a lot of these are things. All right, here's one thing I've noticed. And this is also a reason to check out Dan Reviews It, because we do the Dan Does Disney sometimes. We go back and watch classic Disney movies. When I was a kid, I kind of grew up watching some of those like kids movies, the classic Disney's, and as we know, some of them were kind of a bit darker and more potentially difficult than maybe younger viewers should watch. But I watched a lot of intense stuff anyway, like RoboCop. But for some reason, as a kid, I could watch something like RoboCop and it wouldn't bother me that much. But some of the early Disney movies would creep me out or bother me. And like for instance, some of the classics like Snow White and like Pinocchio. I remember like Pinocchio especially. I remember thinking I don't really like Pinocchio. I'm not really a fan of it. And went back and watched it again years later for the show for the Dan Does Disney. And like a lot, and please check out those videos because like going back as like a person who has, obviously watched a lot more movies and trying to kind of appreciate it for the aesthetic value and the historical value of what they did back then, just technically, like it's just beautiful films. And like I just appreciate Pinocchio a lot more. But a better example of one that I think was like maybe a less recent was because um, when I was a kid, I remember watching the movie Babe about the pig, that the talking pig on the farm and everything, that becomes like a sheep herder. And as a kid, I really didn't like it. I remember not really being a fan of Babe at all. I'm like this. I think I thought it was stupid. I just didn't really like it. Went back and watched it again later for the old Film Fanatics podcast. My buddy Peter, who was apparently his favorite movie, and like I watched it as an adult a couple years back, and it blew my mind. Like how good it was. Like because I didn't realize how dark it was, how much depth it had, how good the characters were, and how impressive it was for the time to get the animals to talk like that. The performances, and I'm like, this is a movie about a talking pig, trying to kind of defy the odds, and it should be silly, it should be stupid. And as a kid, I didn't like it, I didn't get it, but like watching it later, I was like, this is a really great film. And that was so bizarre. Like I was like, I can't believe it. Babe is a really good movie. So if you've ever seen Babe, it's a real written film. It's just a good movie. Same guy, I think it was written by the guy that did the Mad Max movies, actually, who directed the sequel, the Babe Pig in the City. Great filmmaker, great filmmaker. My goodness, like didn't get that one as a kid at all, but thankfully I appreciate it more. Yeah, probably Babe actually is the first thing that comes to mind. Better fight, Hiei versus Bowie or Netero versus Miriam? Probably Netero versus Miriam, actually, just visually. But the Hiei versus Bowie fight is a good one. I feel like that's the one people gravitate to most with Hakusho for best fights. Well, I don't think it's the best fight. For shooters, you need to try Spec Ops The Line. Spec Ops The Line. I'll have to look that up. Spec Ops The Line. Is that Xbox or PlayStation or is that both? I'll look into it. Spec Ops Line. Is that like Call of Duty or Battlefield or something? Let's see. Better character, Kuwabara or Krillin? Oh no! Didn't we do a tournament about this hero? Didn't this happen? Didn't this happen? I feel like the Green Clan when we did our anime tournament. I'm pretty sure they did this to me. I think they put. I'm trying not to curse, but I'm just like I think somebody put. So was it Zoro? Somebody was like, "Yeah, we're gonna put Krillin and Kuwabara head to head." Or was I? Or did Krillin go against somebody else? I don't remember. But oh man, oh that's hard, man. That's bull. Okay. All right. Okay. A better character. A better character. Well, how do we define a better character? All right. So, I mean, obviously, trying to think, I try to put aside my personal biases. Krillin grew up with Dragon Ball Z. Krillin was always one of my favorites, clearly. I guess we get to see more of Krillin's development technically. Who grows more as a person? Probably. That's hard. I feel like Kuwabara might grow a little bit more because he kind of turns away from fighting to kind of pursue something else, which I think is not necessarily a detriment to Krillin because Krillin kind of does the same thing. Very similarly, kind of works changes his life to kind of fit his talents another way, but still comes back to fight when needed. That's really tough. I think they kind of serve very similar functions, comic relief, kind of a vehicle for the audience, more grounded characters, underdogs that we can support. So they're both very similar. I think it comes down to personal preferences on the little quirks. I think maybe Krillin's a little less one note than Kuwabara, but serving the function of the story itself in relation to the other characters, I would probably say Kuwabara overall because As great as Krillin is, because Dragon Ball goes on so long, Krillin is good, but in terms of his relation to the story and the other characters, it kind of varies a lot. So, I'll give it to Kuwabara on this one, but I think that's a pretty debatable one. Going Freaks or Edward Elric? Edward Elric. Boom, boom. That one wasn't that hard. Gon is a great character. Don't get me wrong. A very good character. I think the fact that he's not like an ultimate badass right away is kind of what sets him apart. But other than that, he's still kind of innocent. He's still kind of simple. He's still kind of everybody likes him. They kind of gravitate to him. They become his friends after they fight. Still follows a lot of the same tropes anyway. But Edward Elric though, come on, come on, Edward Elric. It's Ed, but who's better, Ed or Al? Aha. On Xbox, you must play the Tom Clancy Rainbow Vegas. Oh, yeah. I played Rainbow Vegas before. I played Rainbow Vegas back in the day. I could play it again though. Played that back in like 2008 or 2009 or something. That's another one that we played a bit. Rainbow Vegas. Aren't there a bunch of those though? Yeah, I do remember that one. Wow. Okay. Better character, Wonder Woman. I think this question's come up before. Better character, Wonder Woman DCU, Black Widow MCU. Oh, all right. Scarlett Johansson's a great actress. But I have to give it to Wonder Woman because she has her own movie. As you brought up before in other chats, she's pretty much the main thing holding whatever the DCU is together. Because her movie was really good, and her character was good. The performance was good. Such a great version of the character. Absolutely. I think Black Widow is also a very interesting character, potentially a strong female character, but she doesn't have her own movie because they pushed it off for so long for some reason. Now, who knows when it'll come out? I was very much looking forward to that, but so if she had that movie, and we have her backstory, we have a good full arc for her, flesh out her character, give it some conclusiveness, give her moment, then there'll be a comparison. Because the thing is, I honestly feel like with her level of acting and the caliber of writing that the MCU writers have been able to do with most of their movies, like they've made mostly really good films, I feel like she would have easily been up to par with the Wonder Woman film, maybe better, really. But it's until we have that, it's hard to say. And the fact that it comes out after the fact, who knows? But as of right now, it's definitely Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman because we just don't. We have a lot more character of her in general. So I like Black Widow, but she's basically just a strong supporting character, and she is loved, beloved character in these films, but. They're just not that much of her. It's kind of an unfair comparison, unfortunately. Death Note is a classic shonen, not really my thing though. For some reason when I was thinking like favorite anime characters, like manga characters, L and Light did kind of come into my mind, and I was like, so cliche to say that, but the original like back and forth between them in that cat and game for like the early volumes was really cool. And I remember Death Note's kind of a weird thing for me because, all right, here's some confession time, people. You ready? All right. Death Note is like one of my favorite manga still. I think it wasn't the first manga I read. I remember trying to think. I think it was like Ranma One Half or Hellsing. I really liked too that I got into. I'm just trying to think like what, but the first one that I really like got into and followed along consistently. I read some Naruto was Bleach. Well, not Bleach. I did read Death Note. I did read. I remembered like I picked up. I think it was in the bookstore, and I randomly picked up Death Note, and I'm like, wow, like this is a manga with so much dialogue in it. And I was just like blown away by how many internal monologues there were and the intricacies of the conversations and just a cool concept. I really, really liked that. And then, when and just like the right in the middle when they killed L, I got so mad and I never was able to like really just soldier on through. I just stopped caring after that point, really. I was so mad about it. And I think most people agree it goes downhill after that. I guess it's kind of a bold thing to have that rival character, you know, the good guy get killed by the villain. I get that, but I liked their chemistry. I wish it would have gone on longer. And I never actually watched the anime. I've seen a couple of the famous clips, like I'll take this potato chip and eat it, but I only read the manga, good amount of the manga. I probably should watch the anime sometime just to do it. There's still a handful of classic ones I have to watch still that are on the list somewhere, but if I read the manga and I feel like it's a pretty close adaptation, I don't make the anime a priority, which is weird because I think Monster, the manga, is really good, and the anime is like almost like frame for frame identical. And I really like the anime for the atmosphere, but you read the manga, it's like the same, you know. So, but yeah, they are classic, and they are. It's another one of those series that is very accessible, I think, to get people in the anime, especially people that might not like the stuff that's overly cartoony and weird and off kilter and kind of more, more Japanese, I guess, stuff that might not come off easier for like the average Western viewer. That I think Death Note's one of those ones that might lure people in a little more, but I still like it, but I have like very mixed feelings about Death Note to this day because I have a sort of strange half formed relationship with it. There's a lot of anime and manga that I have like very weird opinions based on my limited experience with some of them. So still classic shonen, but it's a different kind of shonen. That's one that is it's shonen mostly because of the demographic and some of the tropes, but it's not really a battle series, which I think most people just kind of lump in with it. It's a battle series of the minds, you know. It's a mystery, a cat and mouse thriller, really is what it is. Detective thing. Miriam and the Royal Guard are the most intimidating villains I've ever seen. Palm would have rather killed herself than fight any Royal Guards, and Miriam got wolf into age like 100 years. Yeah. Oh man. All right, crazy boy. YouTube blocked your comment. How you doing, by the way? Because it's like we're trying to be calm. I will admit, I do think that language is something we don't really, that could be potentially offensive. So basically, Crazy Boy said he thinks that the 2003 one is unintelligent or just an a-hole or something. All right, Crazy. Well, why do you think that though? I thought. Wait, do you like him more focused? But I think we just get more. He starts off being kind of unlikable, like he's very snotty. He thinks he knows a lot more than he does, but he's arrogant. He's also kind of jaded, but he's a kid. So he starts off. You don't necessarily like him at first. I remember those like that early episode. It's like he's kind of an arrogant little, but he's been through a lot for his age, so he kind of thinks he's got it all figured out, and then he grows and learns that, oh wow, he's got a lot more, to figure out. I'm really hoping that Giro fully introduced in Hunter. Yeah, given time. American animation versus anime. In what regard? Like, which one do I like better? Which one do I think is better? Like, which one would win in a fight? Da, 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 da. Like, I mean, I guess you mean like which one I think is better or which one I prefer. The truth comes out. Well, I love all. All right, I love all animation. I love cartoons. Obviously, I like film and I like just entertainment and storytelling in general. In terms of mediums, though, uh, hmm, but you're making me pick, is what it is. So that like half my subscribers just leave, the other half. It's like, okay, so who am I going to offend? Am I going to offend? Am I going to offend all my anime and manga subscribers? Or am I going to offend all the people that like my comic book superhero stuff, which have a lot of cartoons that we all grew up with? Who am I going to offend? Who am I going to offend? Hopefully nobody. I mean, I really like, oh man, like which one do I think is better? Which should I rather sit down and watch over? Well, this is the thing. All right. This is changing. Like if you'd like, and even in the time that I've been, doing stuff online, like the respect for anime and the relation between an American animation has grown. Like it used to be like 20, 30 years ago, American cartoons were mostly for kids or just adult comedies. And anime was just like pretty much everything else. And they're like, oh, anime, it's weird. There's all kinds of weird adult stuff or more mature storylines or just graphic violence and sex or it was shocking mostly. That's why there was a lot of good quality stuff we didn't get, but it was mostly like this stuff is just you don't see cartoons for this. The cartoons are for kids. So I mean, that's there's a lot of creators for both mediums really that you see a lot of variety for any of them. I still kind of think that anime in terms of just variety of types of stories, um, I feel like you have more there. Like there are so many anime series that cover so many different genres and in varying styles. Like, I mean, you've got like literally you do have kids anime, that's more cartoony, of course, but you've got stuff that you've got all the action stuff. You've got the super powered martial arts stuff, although the battle series. You've got detective shows like Case Closed. I mean, you've got giant robots. You've got monster horror shows, science fiction, various comedies, slice of life, realistic dramas. You've got pretty much anything you can think of. There is anime. The downside to that is though that anime is still from a different culture. It's still kind of niche. It's still kind of off in comparison to a lot of American stuff that in the Western, medium, we as consumers we might be more used to because it's more situated to our tastes and our values and our beliefs and just the way we express emotion and ideas. It's different, language wise, culture wise, even animation style wise. And even though I think that anime tends to have a lot of what's weird because sometimes there's a lot of cost saving stuff, but there's also a lot of anime that's really beautiful. uh Anime still does have that distinct style that kind of is like, even though there's a lot of it and a lot of different shows, a lot of them kind of sit into the similar category with obviously the bigger eyes and just especially if you watch a lot of anime, especially these days, you see a lot of stuff that's very very similar. I guess American animation, you don't have quite as much variety with like as many adult storylines that are focused on mature themes and ideas, but there's getting to be a lot more of that. And even though it's still thought of mostly for comedies for adults and mostly for kids and teens, with a lot of shows like Airbender, you've got She-Ra, you've got the stuff Adventure Time, and you've got Gravity Falls, and even stuff like SpongeBob, and then you got Simpson, Morty, like all over the place, over the past decade or two, that we've seen a lot more variety and influence from anime and respect for anime, saying, okay, adults can watch cartoons and have mature themes, and it doesn't have to just be comedy, it doesn't have to just be for kids. I do think that when we get specified like animation shows in America, especially stuff might be funded by like Netflix or on Adult Swim, there tends to be a lot of budget behind it and a lot of detail for style that tends to look really really good. Whereas and that kind of stands out because there's less of it, but the stuff that is elevated is kind of above a lot of like if you see a lot of anime, sometimes it's hard to get them all to stand out because there's so many similarities and so much coming at you. Whereas I feel like there's more focus on still comedy, still kids stuff, but they're kind of improving. So it depends on what you want. And I feel like that was a long-winded way of saying which one I prefer. I guess because I've actually been watching kind of boost my mood a little. I've been watching a lot of Simpsons lately and realizing kind of how influential Simpsons is and how much I liked it growing up and how much it still sticks with me. And the jokes hit me more now because I liked them as a kid, but in some ways as an adult, I appreciate them more, but also the morals and the character and the lessons of it. Like, I really like The Simpsons, just as an example. Futurama, I like a lot, in that Disenchantment show, if you guys checked it out. So combining that with just like things like Avatar, The Last Airbender, and this is probably more of like a personal preference thing, but a lot of my favorite animated shows, cartoons, like they're from the Batman animated series, X-Men, Spider-Man, the Spectacular Spider-Man, Beast Wars, you know, stuff that I just grew up on. I really love those shows, and I think that they're most of them they're still kind of like dated, but they still are very entertaining for me. I gravitate to a lot of those shows the most to rewatch. I can come back to them easier. And also like those more comedic shows I mentioned, like The Simpsons or something, I can watch those pretty much anytime. With anime, I feel like it's more specified. Like if I had to make a list of my favorite shows of all time, there would be a lot of live action stuff in there. There'd be some like American animated shows, and there would be some anime. Uh, I don't know how many anime would make my like top 25 shows list, but there'd definitely be a couple, and I would think they were some of the best shows I've ever seen. Like they'd be among my favorites, and you probably know some of them. But I feel like it's more specified. Like when I'm in the mood to watch anime, I feel like there's a couple I've found that really have just kind of been elevated and stick out to me, and I gravitate to them. Maybe that's just 'cause there's just so much of a bulk of it now that it's harder to see it. But I appreciate the fact that there's much more anime available for everybody, and I think that that has influenced American animation. There's a big company, but I guess I'd say that overall, I prefer the bulk of American animation. That there might be more of those in my top list, probably, but it might be pretty close. I'd have to make the list. I never have, but I think some of the anime series that I watched are some of the best shows I've ever seen. That they'd be really highly ranked. So I think that there might be more American animated shows I'd like, maybe. Hard to say, but the a lot of the anime would be like high up there, so that really stood out. So if that answers your question, so I guess American, but it depends. It really depends. Oh, let's see. Finally, getting to some questions. Thank you for the patience, people. From Hero, what's the reception for Voyager? I've heard some mixed things before, but unsure with certainty if it was regarded as a good show or a bad show. You have to watch it for yourself and find out. Well, Hero, that's the reason you hear such a mixed reception is because Voyager is a very, very mixed, varied show. There are some really great Star Trek episodes in there about exploration. You get more of that kind of in line with the original series, Next Generation. It's just there's a lot of inconsistencies in the writing. Some of the characters you might not like as much, but there's some really cool characters like Seven of Nine, and the Doctor's really great. But what they do with the Borg is interesting, but a lot of people don't really like it. So depending how you feel about the Borg, that might affect that. So I really can't tell you. I think there's a lot more very good or bad episodes. It's really kind of all over the place with Voyager. I think you're probably, I mean, I could be wrong. You're probably on the decline for quality of Trek, in my opinion, but there is some good Voyager stuff. And I kind of like Enterprise, even though there are some dumb episodes in there. There's always dumb episodes of Trek, man. So I'd say give it a watch, but it doesn't have to be as much of a priority. I'd be curious to see what you think. But the first three have always been my favorites for sure. But I think DS9 is still the best. I don't know if you'll ever see anything peak. I think it's like, and then just, it's going below. You should watch the new shows and tell me what you think. That's really one I want to see, as a new fan. Better group, the Phantom Troop or the Homunculus from Brotherhood? Oh, man, that's another tough one. I would say probably the Homunculus just because, you said from Brotherhood. No, I'll still give it to Brotherhood because I think they were kind of threatening looking. Really cool atmosphere that they provided. But a Phantom Troop are a very fascinating group of villains because you could argue, like, how villainous are they? Their weird code of honor. The spiders. Yeah, I gotta watch Hunter again. But, I would still say probably the Homunculi just because I think they're more threatening overall, but I don't know. The Phantom Troop are pretty threatening too, aren't they? Oh, let's see. Apparently, there's going to be an anime based on the game of Shenmue. Really? I did not know about that. Weird question. Better story, Hunter x Hunter or the MCU? It's kind of a random combination of questions for comparison. Better MCU. Only because the MCU was, for the most part, even though I don't think it was really planned, I think it came together pretty darn well. Hunter x Hunter, I don't think the characters are all quite as fleshed out for the cast of characters they juggle. There's a lot of interesting ones, but they haven't been fleshed out to the same degree as the MCU movies have. And also, there's no real conclusion yet, so that's kind of a disadvantage. But I'd say MCU for sure now. But we'd see, Hunter x Hunter and Time Man once again potential. The most arrogant, Hiei, Vegeta, Killua. I want to say Hiei, believe it or not. I really want to say Vegeta because it seems like an obvious answer, but Vegeta eventually becomes less arrogant. You're better than me, Kakarot. You are the best. Great moment. Great moment, which they kind of sort of semi redact in Super, but still, he's a changed character. He does become less prideful, even though he's the same with Pride. I think they had that fight and they never get to resolve it in Hakusho. And I always kind of felt that I mean, he grows too, but I never felt the arrogance completely left. Well, at least he didn't show it outwardly as much. So I think that he still had a little bit of that. I think Vegeta kind of drops his guard a bit more later on, which is nice. I like that growth. Doesn't mean he's forgiven though. Aha. I realize the anime adaptation of Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter makes the story better than the manga did. I have never actually read the manga version of either. I remember saying Z3, I think, did. I know that the Hunter x Hunter manga had like notoriously limited art, which people used to make fun of. So that probably had something to do with it. Just the quality of the animation was better with more of a team, and obviously music and sound effects and voice acting all that into that. But yeah, from what I understand, that actually sells it. More people tend to like the anime than the manga versions, I think. That seems to be the consensus. Like, it's one of those things that people follow. Like, I think that's the difference between something like Hunter x Hunter and One Piece that I've noticed is like, and I like One Piece, but I'm not like super, I'm pretty behind on it and haven't followed it too much. I've noticed that, and maybe it's just among the people I follow, but like with Zoro, like there's always that anticipation. People are so invested in the story of One Piece, and there's a big enough fan base for it that people do follow it week to week or try to, reading the manga chapters and with the reactions, reviews, and whatnot. It's that weekly excitement. But I feel like when the anime eventually comes out, like, yeah, people might like it, but it's like we already know. People want to know what's going on in the story now. Like Hunter x Hunter, it's like people follow it, and that might be the hiatus too, but the anime catches up, and a lot more people will get into it because people are attracted much more to the animation, and the anime is what got people into it, which is kind of what the renewal of a lot of shows have been getting. Like, that's what happened with JoJo and Hunter x Hunter, actually. It's like that new version comes out, and then it's like kind of like a sort of cult classic. Like Hunter x Hunter and JoJo were both kind of well known, but now they just blew up, especially JoJo, which is cool. But it's just interesting. What are the similarities between Gon and Goku? Well, you probably could guess that. Well, they're pretty innocent, simple-minded. They've got the super strength. There's kind of a love of nature, kind of a childhood nature, especially because when they're both kids. Uh, Similar sense of humor, perhaps. Natural talent for fighting, and kind of a compassion and a good heart that just attracts people to them. So a lot of the basic tropes that we can kind of pretty much, I think, say were popularized at the very least, if not originated from Goku, are in Gon as well. Very similar characters. I think the main difference is I think Gon might be a little more thoughtful, perhaps of his friends than Goku initially. And obviously, he doesn't have as much power that he just wins all the time. So I think he has that going for him, which might mean he has potentially more growth. But for the most, they're pretty similar in a lot of ways, but they're not identical. There are some differences. Like Goku, I don't think ever had quite as much of a humiliating defeat as with Hisoka in the woods. For instance, which I surprised that isn't like alluded to more as like what happened there. Like he basically molested this kid or something. It's really creepy, potentially dark, but ugh. Telling you, man, they went there. Favorite dialogues in fiction. Oh man, I could do so many movie quotes. My favorite dialogue. I've been, I really like the speech at the end of the Day of the Earth still, but if we're talking about dialogue in general, it's just I love. This is going to sound cliche, but I love Tarantino's dialogue. Like that one epic rap battle back in the day said he was the king of dialogue, and it's true. It's true, man. Like he's just it's so fun. It's fun to listen to his characters talk because they all this pop culture spewing stuff. They just sound like a bunch of really hyper, movie nerds or music nerds, which is basically Tarantino. It's himself implanted into all these people. But they're so energetic, but they fit into this conversation that's so hyperbolic and like almost cartoony, but still seems like realistic. Like you could see it happening. Uh yeah, I mean, like the Pulp Fictions has great dialogue. Reservoir Dogs, that's probably my favorite dialogue just within a lot of those exchanges in those films. But I'll be honest, Kill Bill, I really like Bill's speech to the bride, to Beatrix Kiddo at the end of the second part, when he's talking about the Superman analogy and how like she can't really escape who she is. She'll always be like a killer, and like that he doesn't quite kind of quite understand the superhero metaphor and the disguise and the dual life and kind of the fear that she's right. Like that's just I think Carradine delivers that very well. I even like the opening of the movie when he's like just about to shoot her in the head. It's just he's so calm, and but there's like that mess like this is me at my most masochistic. Like it's just like he's frightening. But I really like a lot of the Tarantino dialogue, to be honest. I really do. Also, like some of the great comedies are pretty funny. They make me laugh, like Office Space, Coming to America. They're really great, just in terms of like humor. I also really like in Toy Story. I love I love Woody. I think it's just Hanks' delivery. It's just great. It's like I'll set okay. Tim Allen's like I set my I'll set my phasers from stun to Kel. Everybody never noticed that he says kill, but he pronounces like Kel, and and he's like, great, we'll blink him to death. Like I really appreciate that humor, and I guess that's sarcastic. Like, oh man, what are we gonna do now? Just for the situation, it's something so many people can relate to. Oh man, I think everybody's been there, but yeah, I think Toy Story has some great dialogue. They're getting bigger. Rex has some great stuff with his neurotics. Oh man, that's pretty good. Uh, let's see. For me, Banquet of Kings and Fate Zero. Oh, fiction as well. I guess in general. Anything else? Oh, I mean, Lord of the Rings has some great stuff. Fate, I never watched a lot of Fate Zero. I think I watched like a random episode that one of my friends showed me back in the day. Looked beautiful, but I know there's a bunch of Fate series, and I was never really sure there's Fate Stay Night, Fate Zero, and I think there's something else too, right? I was never really sure. That's the one where it's like channeling the power of King Arthur. It's like Arthurian lore. I should probably be into that actually, with the whole Merlin the Mighty trope going on here. Uh, Aaron and Rayner and Marley. Most realistically well written female character in fiction. Most realistically well written female character in fiction. Oh my goodness. Realistic. There's probably so many great characters that were just female that were very realistic. I'm like, but most realistic? Like just in terms of performance and writing as a person in general and as a woman and gosh, man, I don't know. I'll That's a really hard question actually and a really good one. I'll have to look that I don't even know. I want to cheat here because I'm just curious what the internet says about this. Help me out, Google. Best, I really don't know. Best written character, female, female characters in fiction. Oh my goodness, what do they say? I'm gonna go by okay, literature, favorite female characters, Hollywood, cinema. Okay, this will help me out. All right, Juno. Okay, that's good. Peggy Olson, Mad Men is a good one. Actually, she is really good. I really like Peggy. Dorothy and Wizard of Oz. She's good, but I don't know how realistic. Maybe the movie itself doesn't really fit. Not to hate on Wizard of Oz, but Monica and Friends, maybe. Maria Sound of Music, it's a bit theatrical. No, not How to Get Away with Murder. Sansa Stark, Game of Thrones, it's well done. Realism, hard to say because it's fantasy. No, not as Elaine from Seinfeld. Eh. Oh, Amy Dunn's Gone Girl is realistic. Oh man. Well, okay, this is best written. So you mean realistic? Realistic, not like such a good performance. I guess realism has something to do with the performance. We're talking about like believability. Xena, Mulan, um, 11. Jessica. I actually really like Jessica Jones a lot. I do. She might be a little tropey. She kind of sticks with the I got a chip on my shoulder thing. Oh wow! If any of you have ever seen the movie Annie Hall, that romance Woody Allen in the 70s, that Annie Hall seems like a person, a type of woman that probably really existed. She just seems like a really real person that Diane Keaton portrays. Like Woody Allen based it on some woman he was friends with or dated. It just seems like a very real relationship. Annie Hall feels like a very realistic portrayal of a woman, of a person, of a character. So yeah, Annie Hall. Um, okay, I'll give you my favorite that came to mind. Clarice Starling from Silence of the Lambs is probably my favorite female character in fiction that I can think of right now. It's the first thing that came to mind. Jodie Foster does a great job, and I think, considering the context of the movie, I think she's very believable, very realistic, and a very strong female character in kind of like a male-dominated world. FBI agent. That she's a smaller woman going after these serial killers, win over her head, having to toss dialogue. There's great dialogue exchange there with her and Hannibal Lecter. Some of my favorite. I got to do a video on that film. Silence Lamb is one of my favorite movies. Wow, Clarice Starling is probably. I think she's really up there. The Bride. I like The Bride. I think she is a fantastically written female. Also one of my favorites. But realistic context of this film, kind of. But it's still kind of art over the top, cartoon influenced samurai. It could be Furiosa's a good character, but no, not really. Lucy. I'm trying to think of realism. Realism. So far, I think Claire Underwood's really seems realistic from House of Cards. She's another great performance. Wow. Also one of my favorite female characters in fiction. Really good realistic portrayal. Too bad at the end of that show. Olivia Pope from Scandal. I don't know. Arya Stark. Arrow. Hey, I know. Good performance, but I don't know. Realistic. Katniss, good. It's a little. I think it might be Ripley. I actually from Alien. Considering this sci-fi, maybe not like. It's hard to say, but considering it, I believe her. I believe she's that tough from her. She's a great example of something. But so yeah, great, right? Best. Yes, Ripley is up there for sure. Phoebe, actually, Phoebe's pretty. Mary Poppins is great. I don't know how realistic she is, but Mary Poppins is one of the great female characters. I like this list. That Mary Poppins is great. Elle Woods and Legally Blonde. Yeah, she's pretty good. She's pretty good. I do like Daenerys Targaryen, but I don't like the end of the show. Leslie Knope is great. I want to say Marge Simpson too is really good too. I haven't watched much 30 Rock, so I can't comment. Oh, Dana Scully, The X-Files. Duh. I don't. A bit corny at times, I guess, but Scully is one of the best. Gillian Anderson's one of the best. Love X-Files. Miranda Priestley and Deborah Willis Prada. Yeah, that person probably exists. Meryl Streep is good. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She is up there too. Wow. I'm tired. I'm glad I'm looking at this list up. This has helped me. Buffy is really good. Sometimes I wonder about the realism because of the show, but she is a very believable character in that situation. I do. I believe these are characters that are very they're acting kind of cartoony in the situation they're in, but Buffy's very well written. Love Buffy. Princess Leia is great. I don't know about realism. I feel like she could have been given more. But Hermione is also really good. Hermione Granger in the books is one of my favorites, and they did a good job with her in the movies. So Hermione, that's their number one for Hollywood Reporter. Hermione's a great pick. I really like Hermione a lot, but I would say Buffy, Miranda from Devil Wears Prada, Dana Scully from X Files, Leslie Knope, Marge Simpson. I'm going to say because she's not out here, I guess because she's not live action. Daenerys is a maybe. Um, Mad Men, Mary Poppins for sure, Ripley for sure is up there. Claire Underwood from House of Cards. Clarice Starling's probably my number one though, and Annie Hall is very realistic too. Yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna say Clarice Starling. Wow, that was quite the list. Whew. Yeah, let me know if I missed any. Let's see. Better character, Naruto or Ichigo? Probably Naruto, to be honest. To be honest. I think he probably develops more throughout the course of the series. And I don't think I think his power source kind of linked with his origin makes his growth as a character less because Ichigo does have some growth, but he, as we know, he kind of gets more random stuff handed to him as things go on, and I never it always when it just gets ridiculously silly. I guess Naruto had some of that to some degree, but with the fox was always there. There was always potential there for that, so we always knew where it was going, and I feel like Naruto is probably I feel like Naruto is a character that had to work for it because he did not start off with all that power either. And I guess that's another reason why Naruto is very popular because he has to work for it, he has to struggle for it. We see him overcome obstacles. He has to work with his friends and bond with them to overcome things. And not everything is he has to strategize. It's not, and he does have his power ups, but he's also started off hated by everybody, as a scapegoat for what happened and with what he carries within him. So I can't believe I'm going to say it, but I do think Naruto probably overall might be better, which is weird because I was a bigger Bleach fan back in the day, and I liked early Bleach more, as I've said a lot. But as a character overall, it might be Naruto. I mean, honestly, it's another one I got to go back and I got to watch more things. And uh, you know, let me know, guys, if you want me to go. If you guys want me to do anime and comic character stuff more. If you guys want me to do more of those, let me know characters or thematic things or different series or shows you'd like me to talk more about. If I could, because I want to try and do more of that. Get back into the kind of what kept this channel like together. And I want to give you guys more of those videos but I want to try to approach it in new ways. So if there's stuff you want me to talk about specifically or ground I've covered before but in a different way, seriously, let me know. Or different types of videos, like the movie stuff, the comic stuff. Let me know. I really like the feedback because I sometimes feel like I'm losing direction with that with the lack of views on things. So let me know. But yeah, I'd say Naruto probably. Um, let me see. Edward's answer. Oh, yeah. How would Kahlua and Black Widow MCU act with each other? Um, well, I think. Now I'm thinking I might have actually liked Kurapika more. Now, yeah, that might have been the answer. Yeah, that's right. I think I like Kurapika was actually my favorite, but it was very much like Kurama, so that's why I didn't say it before. How would they interact? These are some random like anime superhero pair ups. These would be like bizarre video ideas. Um, I have this feeling that Black Widow would probably take. Well, I think she would at first be threatened. Like there'd be kind of some combat, and I wonder if Kahlua would like attack her and almost kill her because he probably has more power than Black Widow does. But Black Widow has more skill and experience, so she probably could get one over on him. And they might initially not trust each other because they're both kind of like secret agent assassins. But if they could get past that, I could definitely see Black Widow taking Kahlua under her wing as a mother figure because obviously his family is not so good. So, and she could probably relate to that because she kind of feels like a bit of a misfit too. So I could see them bonding over that. Actually, that actually could be an interesting pair up. Yeah, as far as Marvel and anime groupings go. Uh, How would Gone Freaks and Wonder Woman DC interact with each? I feel like they'd be fine. I feel like they'd get along and go and be like, oh, cool, pretty lady, and Wonder Woman would be like, all right, hello there, strange young one. Test combat, they'd fight a little bit. I feel like Wonder Woman might take going under her wing and really be into training him. Actually, I could see them sparring a lot when she sees potential within him, and he could like look up to her as like how to be a better hero or something. Ooh, better villain, Sensui or Frieza? Ooh. Hmm. Hmm. I think Sensui is obviously probably the more complex in his arc than Frieza is overall. I mean, they serve different functions. Frieza being kind of a big bad, being more, at least early on, and still to some degree now, kind of like that omnipotent, not omnipotent, wow, I don't think he's that powerful, but this really overbearing sheer force of nature almost. And he's pretty much, I don't want to say one dimensional, but he is straight evil. There isn't much motivation we know beyond he wants power. He's just an evil force. Since we get the background, we get the motivation, which makes him more sympathetic, therefore potentially more interesting. We can kind of relate to his plight, and we kind of see him wrestle with that, and we wonder about that ourselves, what we do in that situation. So, and it makes the fact that he's kind of a good foil, obviously, for Yusuke, kind of like the dark reflection of him being a detective as well. I also think he's got more charisma, and they don't really do as much with the different personalities, but that also kind of adds some potential layers to him as well. So I think Sensui is potentially a more interesting villain. He's more complex. He's probably better written for the story, but it's tough for me because I think that Frieza is just has that charisma too, and they're both pretty threatening in terms. They're very similar in terms of their placement, but I think that Frieza has more of an impact in the show overall than Sensui does, in the sense that he affects many different characters because of his decision. And then I could say the same thing about Sensui. I think they're both great. In the fact, I just think Frieza's a great, solid, old school villain when you just need something evil. But yeah, I think Sensui's probably better written overall. But oh, you said he's a better villain. Purely as a villain, it depends on what you're looking for, of course. But I'm going to say Frieza because I think he's more intimidating. He's more evil. He's scarier, especially Sensui. So that's a very tough question. But like I said, it depends on what you're looking for. So I'm gonna say Frieza, but I totally get the other one. Current plans to watch list. I almost want to go to my Netflix queue and tell you. Um, hmm. Hold on. I'm gonna bring up Netflix and I'm gonna tell you what I have, what I would like to go through to look at. That I can see here. I might have to pop over into the other room because that's technically another account. Um, Man, I want to tell you what are some things that I want to watch that I haven't already. Da 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 da. I might actually have to step out and let you know. To be completely honest, because I don't remember. I don't remember. There's a couple anime on there. There's a couple movies I've actually never seen. Couple shows I want to check out. There's a couple things I wanted to rewatch that I haven't watched in a long time, and I haven't seen all the episodes like Twilight Zone. I've never seen The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. I've never seen Schindler's List. There's a couple other anime too. I'm just trying to remember which ones I think Seven Deadly Sins. I know people wanted me to check out. I haven't watched that yet. So that's one. I think Mobile Suit. No, not Robotech. I didn't see Robotech. That was one I think that was on there. The Netflix Voltron show I didn't watch. So that's another one. Let me see. That's what's coming to mind now. Yeah. Let's see here. Quick time events, worst game mechanic. You agree? I like some quick time events. I like some quick time events. Unpopular opinion that would have everyone attack you. Miriam or Pain? I always liked Pain, actually. I always thought he was pretty cool. Feel like Code Geass only good to its ending. Code Geass, Code Geass, I think the ending really gets people behind Lelouch. And I think that's kind of what really elevated him to an interesting character. But there's a lot of like cloak and dagger stuff, a lot of mystery, a lot of tension. Um, I kind of want to go back and watch Code Geass as well. That's one that I kind of want to reevaluate at some point and give another shot. I've also let's see things I've been watching now. I've been watching Fruits Basket. It's like the only anime my girlfriend and I've been watching. Um, I've been enjoying that. I watched the original and then I've been staying up with the new one, so that's been pretty fun. I really like Fruits Basket quite a bit. Watched the Castlevania show, did a couple live reactions to that. Thought that one was okay so far, not too bad. Been watching Cobra Kai, marathoning that. That's been really cool. Let's see, Kite and the Big Deal too. Yep. Chainsaw Man. I don't even know what that is. Soul Calibur never got an anime adaptation. Yeah, yeah. I'm actually really surprised about that one too. That seems like an obvious one. Most overrated villain in anime and manga for me. Um, hmm. Most overrated anime villain manga for me. Overrated. Overrated. Mm, huh. I'm pretty satisfied with all the ratings they're coming up. Oh, okay. I got one. I got one. I like Trigon a lot, and I think I'm in the minority on this one, but I've always really liked Knives as the evil brother, and I think he's a great villain. I think he's really good at sort of pushing Vash, and I really like their, you know, reflections of each other, how they bounce off. But I feel like whenever everybody talks about Trigon, they're always like Legato Blue Summers is the best villain. He's a henchman because he obviously pushes Vash. I always thought that in the anime, at least, he wasn't that interesting. Like he's cool, but I would Knives is the main villain, and he's got more charisma, personality. He's like you know. It's so it's just I always preferred him, but I think Legato is just like people love that, and I don't know, I never really quite got it as much. Let's see, what show you feel yourself forgetting, but you rather not forget. You rather not forget. I would forget then I don't want to forget. I wouldn't want to forget it. Well, then I guess I would have already forgotten about it if it's one that I didn't want to forget, but I forgot about it. Um, there's probably something. There's probably some show that I liked back in the day briefly, um, but I may have watched it so brief. Uh, I kind of I kind of liked Fringe when it was on. I watched a bit of Fringe. But after like I think I watched like a season and I don't remember much about it. I feel I forget about it sometimes. I know it's got a fan base, but I could never get into Fringe that much. And I liked it, but I was just like, I don't know. Um, I like My Hero Academia. I'd recommend it. I think if you like shonen stuff, it's pretty good. It plays with some tropes a little, but it's pretty much just it plays with some tropes like does things that like similar to Gon and Naruto, where he has to kind of work up to his power. Very superhero themed, which I kind of like. Haven't watched it all, but I've liked what I've seen. I really like it. It's very colorful, and it has a really great cast of supporting characters. Like I really like them all. A lot of interesting personalities, and I can't think of many other anime series where the characters don't have like that much screen time, but I like so many of the supporting ones. Like I want to follow them. So I recommend it. I think My Hero Academia is pretty good. What I've seen of it. Top two anime fights. It's random. Top two. Oh, he's the top two. Okay, a top two. Goku versus Vegeta first fight, and Yusuke versus Tagoro. Final fight. Kahlua going on Godspeed on UP is my favorite moment when Kahlua is in the series. Yes. Jogging, I think my hero is solid. Try it. Yeah, I agree with Kenny. I agree with what he's saying. It's pretty solid. I recommend it. Yeah, he's probably going to. Any shows I'd give a 10? Oh, a 10 out of 10 show? Like say, well, I mean, I guess 10 implies that there's like nothing wrong with it, or I guess, like basically nothing wrong with it. Like tens, like an anime that I would say was like didn't really have any real issues with. From what I can remember, like probably something like I think Monster's definitely up there. And probably Cowboy Bebop. Hmm, Any others I'd give a 10 to? Those are the only two that I can think of. And that's saying something, that I'm thinking doesn't really have an issue. I'd say it's like pretty close to, I guess, perfect. I'd give those tens. I mean, if I was, I mean, I'd probably give other ones tens too, but I guess if I was looking at like, little D's, like 8 or 9, but we'll say that. Let's see. Get more people on. Welcome. Welcome. Oh man, more questions. Yikes. Oh my goodness. Oh my. Oh no, no. So gotta scroll down. Okay. Blah, blah. Oh, did I try Madaka Box manga? I did not. Is there something wrong with the writer? It's come out. I did not check that out. I heard good things about it, but I never got around to reading it. Um, Made in Abyss review incoming, please. You want a Made in Abyss? Maybe. I don't know what that is. You'd like me to check that out? Maybe. If I can find it, I might. Favorite anime from my moment with Hiei was when he absorbed the dragon of the darkest flame, turned his body into a dragon, defeated Bui. That's a pretty great moment. Like I said, I feel like when people talk about Hakusho fights, I feel like that's the one that comes up the most, even more than the Yusuke Sensui fight. I feel like that's the fight that people are like is the pinnacle. But that's by far the coolest thing he did. Like I mean, everything else he ever did, I don't think was as cool. I really don't. So I don't know. It is a cool fight, and Dragons of the Darkness Flame was awesome, but I don't know. I don't know. I find that interesting. I like the fight, but it's never been one of my favorites. Maybe because I don't like Hiei as much as some people do. Like of the characters, he's probably my least favorite, though I do think he is good. Maybe that has something to do with it. Storytelling media tier list. I'd have to compile that list. I don't know if I could come up with it now. Storytelling. I mean, obviously, oh man. I mean, I'm just gonna list my favorite shows. Then that's not fair. I mean, Batman the Animated Series, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Fullmetal Alchemist, Berserk, um, like X Files, the Twilight Zone, Nash, Seinfeld, Game of Thrones, the most part, Sopranos, Wire, Breaking Bad. What else we got? What else we got? Is that it, Joe? I actually really liked Star Wars Rebels, actually, quite a bit for writing. Um, yeah, let's stick to that for now. These all sound like pretty good answers. Beast Wars, actually. Beast Wars is really good writing. Um, yeah. Uh, Definitely. Yeah. Actually, I'd say so. For sure, for sure. Oh, that's a tough fight because Gurren Lagann, maybe. Because it's so over the top. Maybe it could be. Depends on what Ava were the main one. I don't know. I don't think that would just be a ridiculous fight, but I'd see it. Hidden talent. Is there a rivalry where they don't hate each other? In anime, probably not. I can't think of one. there's friendly rivalries, I guess, but there's rivalries in My Hero Academia where they don't hate each other as much. They're all kind of competing, and there's there's some less hate there. Silly question, but what hair color attracts you most in anime? Like what hair color I like on characters? Like just in general? Um, I think I tend to like characters that have like either like blondish hair or kind of like a silver or white. I think that tends to be one that I gravitate to the most. I think I like that generally. I suppose if I like a particular hair color, maybe. Let's see. You prefer the story of the Hunter x Hunter over the MC? That's fine. You should tell me why though. More consistent, maybe. Uh, what makes a good antagonist for me? How much they challenge the hero, how much of a challenge they are for the hero, how threatening they are, but also how interesting they are, and a certain degree of kind of charm and likability or have to be there. If they're complex, if there is some nuance, some sympathetic origin, it could certainly elevate it potentially. But I've always kind of liked my villains to be more evil, slimy, very confident, uh, kind of menacing and calculating. But I also like them over the top and ridiculous, campy even. So that tends to be what I prefer. But I like them all. But so I guess menacing and quiet or just kind of campy or some combination would be great for me. But a good balance to the hero, a good challenge and a reflection of things they have to deal with. So probably favorite anime OST. On the whole, it's probably the Falconer one because I probably listen to more tracks than any other for DBZ. But for like an actual one originally, I mean I probably would say the original FMA, but I like the Hunter x Hunter and Berserk soundtracks a lot too. Season 2 of Voyager. Not sure what was my favorite, but I did feel a lot of emotions when O'Brien episode. Yeah. Mental prison. Oh yeah. Yeah, man. That's a Oh, I think O'Brien gets a lot of time to shine in DS9. Absolutely. I don't know what inspired the Chimera Ants, actually. I don't know if there was ever an interview about that or anything. Let's see. Kahlua and Sasuke. Well, the family aspect, are kind of a bit darker in terms of their overall appeal and perspective. Uh, they have this tendency to kind of go to the dark side and be deadlier. Similar trope for sure. Let's see. Any predictions for Berserk ending? I actually don't know. I haven't followed Berserk in a while. I don't even know what's going on. I'm hoping that Guts and Griffith finally face off, and Guts probably takes Griffith out, but gets mortally wounded. It would be nice if he had like kind of a happy ending, I guess, and was able to live off his life in peace somehow and didn't want to fight anymore. That would be kind of cool. That would be a big subversion, but probably just gonna fight and take him down, and but probably have like a moment where he's like mortally wounded. Maybe like tells Casca or somebody nearby some final like Shakespearean speech. That'd be kind of cool. Um, just leave it like the anime and just sort of have like a dark ending. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. I have no idea. I'm. It's another one I'm surprised is still going sometimes, but I don't know. My favorite novels of all time. I'm sorry. No, no. These are good questions. A lot of my favorite novels tend to be fantasy ones, actually. I mean, which makes sense. I mean, I really like. Well, that's actually not entirely true. No, I like my favorite novels tend to be like classic, classic literature. Like, um, I really like I really like Frankenstein, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. I also really like War of the Worlds a lot. Um, I enjoy Crime and Punishment. It's a good one. Um, my other favorite novels. I like a lot of Stephen King. Stephen King's It is still one of my favorites, um, and as well as The Stand. And I also like some of the Lovecraft stories. They're kind of shorter. Uh, I like a lot of thrillers, like John Grisham, like The Firm is one of my favorites. The Client. I like the legal thrillers quite a bit for more modern stuff, and I also kind of like. I also really like Star Wars novels. I have a bunch of Star Trek novels, but I've always gotten more into Star Wars novels for some reason. I like Darth Bane. I really like, and Darth. I like a lot of the stuff that takes place like kind of in the prequel time. Oddly enough, um, I like. There's this one book I read back in college called "Nip the Bud, Shoot the Kids." It was really good. Lord of the Flies, Animal Farm. I'm a pretty big fan. I was pretty classic. Um, I'm trying to think of some other classic ones that I really enjoy, uh, that I've actually gotten all the way through. Um, yeah, those are the ones I can think of at the moment. I'm sure there's a few. Oh, duh, duh. I also really like The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, and love the Harry Potter. Harry Potter books are actually probably my favorite of all time. To be honest, I love Harry Potter a lot. I don't talk about it much on the channel, but I love those books, um, and I really like the Redwall books about the anthropomorphic animals, but they're like medieval times. Loved those as a kid. Those are still some of my favorites. I want to go back and reread them. Um, I also I enjoyed Game of Thrones, but I didn't really get as far into the books as I probably should have. Um, that's probably all I can think of for now. So I'm missing some kind of like. Oh, I also like. Well, I like more of Isaac Asimov's like short stories. I haven't read too many of his novels, to be fair, for classic stuff. Um, yeah, I think those are probably my favorite like novels. Yeah, mostly like classic literature, like really old school sci-fi, more contemporary fantasy, but also like some like thrillers and things like that. I enjoy quite a bit as well. I like John Grisham a lot. Well, some of his classics. Stephen King too for horror stuff. It's a good question. You know, D. Gray Man is weird because I remember I liked D. Gray Man briefly. I didn't get super far along. I like the manga. I think it's an interesting concept. It has a fan base, but I feel like it's one of those shows that could have been more popular, but just there was a lot of stuff that was competing at the time, and maybe it got lost in the shuffle. But I think D. Gray Man's cool. He and Vegeta, probably the arrogance and pride and the tall black hair rivalry. Favorite anime filler is the entire 2003 FMA. I also like I also do kind of like the some of I like a lot of the stuff in the Dragon Ball Z filler. I think is actually pretty good. A lot of the little episodes here and there actually I think are pretty fun. To be completely honest, those are pretty classic go tos for me, but I do like them quite a bit. But yeah, I guess technically the O3 is all made up filler nonsense, but for FMA, but it's pretty good. Oh yeah, yeah, Maddie Ross and True Grit, great choice. Duh, True. Hmm, forgot about her. Which version of True Grit though? I think I've never seen the original. The remake with Jeff Bridges though, fantastic film. Fantastic film. The coin toss line from Old Country for No End with Anton Chigurh's the Hitman. His was the most he ever lost to coin toss. That's good. Uh, Favorite conflict in fiction? Mine is Man versus Self. Man versus Self is probably the best. I think everyone has to deal with that one. Mine, mine actually has always probably been Man versus Nature. I don't know why, but which is weird because I don't like a lot of those disaster movies. But there's something about like the man in the wild, like fighting the like Lord of the Flies or something. I don't know. I like Man versus Nature a bit. I really do. Man versus Robot. I Robot. Top anime and manga. Has my top anime and manga changed? That's something. There might be some videos at some point. Like I said, if you guys have requests for things you'd like me to talk about on here, please let me know if you think of anything. Because I feel like that's another thing I got to go back and reevaluate some things because I haven't watched as much anime and it's been a while since I watched some of my favorites or read some of my favorite comics and stuff. So I'm kind of curious about that too. Sometimes, I really like the 2003 FMA, but sometimes I wonder, are there shows that I kind of think are better and I could gravitate more to now? And would I rank it as number one? And I'm like, I don't know sometimes. I think there are some series that I might sometimes like a bit more, but I can't definitively say that. I think that my favorite shows are still probably the same, but I think they might juggle, a little bit in their placement, to be honest. A character you hate in your favorite series. In my favorite series. So Full Metal Alchemist. Character I hate. I hate. I don't know if I really hate any of them. I don't really like the one guy they go to, the corrupt guy in the town. He's like okay, but I don't really. Oh, the guy that tries to with where the fake Edward brothers come in and the guy tries to make the red water. I never really cared about that evil tycoon guy much. He didn't really hate him, I guess. But actually, I don't like the fake Elric brothers. I really like them. I don't know if that's hate, but I don't really like them. See that's one of the things about the like, it's fine. I get what they're doing, but I'm like, I don't know. I don't really care that much. They're fine. Supreme Kai slacking off. It's very ill prepared. Oh man, he needs to get a demotion or something, I guess. I like Supreme Kai, but I feel like the Kais need to be more powerful. I don't know, to be honest with you. Um, let's see. Oh man, he and Vegeta would probably fight, not like each other. Vegeta would win. Yusuke and Goku. Yusuke might be annoyed by Goku, but Goku wouldn't care. Yusuke might get over it, probably. Uh, Kahlua met Black Widow MCU is going to be depressed knowing Black Widow. Yeah, yeah. Sensui can destroy the Earth, or freezing can destroy the Earth. I just love them both. Yeah, yeah. Is Cell becoming forgotten as a villain? Unfortunately, I think that's one of the things about Superman. Thankfully for Team Four Star, they kind of concluded with Cell. I think Cell is a great villain, still my favorite, still pretty iconic. But I do think Frieza has superseded him just because of exposure with Super. If Cell has an arc, but that would be so obvious now. I know I'd like him to bring back, but he's not being forgotten. He's got his fans, but I do think he is being overshadowed in popularity right now. I think they might get along, but Thanos probably would think that Miriam was beneath him. Yusuke versus the Doctor was a good fight. Karapika was so confident during York New Arc brought Show. Yeah, that was a good fight too. Zoro, as in from One Piece. I like Zoro. Zoro's a fun character. I think he's a good one. He's probably not like one of my favorite of the Straw Hat crew. I guess he might not be, but I don't know. I think they're all pretty balanced though. I like Zoro as a character. He's a solid character, but I don't think he's not the most interesting one to me. I always thought his motivation was fine, but maybe a little corny, very tropey. Better understanding the characters in the world. Yep. That's why. Okay, Night Hero. I'll probably be going to bed soon. Underrated MCU movie? Probably The Incredible Hulk. Favorite video I've done? Actually, the most recent video I did for the Jurassic Park film review was one I thought was honestly some of the best work I've done. And the most recent Flamethrowers in Cinema for Exterminator 2. But there's a lot of videos I've enjoyed that I've done. But Yeah, also some of the videos on Drinkable Alchemy. If you guys check that out, some good stuff over there. Earthsea, Animal Farm, Dante's Inferno. Oh, good one, good one. I never read Earthsea. Never read Earthsea. I know that Miyazaki's son did the film, and I didn't get through it. That other one got some hate, but I'll have to check it out. I've heard Earthsea is a good one. I also like Wheel of Time. I only read a bit of the first novel, but I want to get into that one as well. That series. And that's right. You still want the Daredevil and Wonder Woman analysis? I'll have to consider that. I gotta kind of watch more Daredevil again, but I'll give you. I'll see if I can do a Wonder Woman one soon. Um, Favorite character in One Piece? Probably Sanji. Sanji's always been my favorite, actually. I like the cooking thing, and I like his technique and stuff. Hey, Imoken, how's it going? Next gen is going to be nuts, man. It's going to be a while till I get a PS5, probably. But I'm telling people, I'm thinking about streaming here on the channel and on Twitch. So if you guys know some stuff, some classic games, old school games, last couple of years you'd like me to try, let me know. I'm going to try to stream hopefully on Tuesdays, next couple weeks or so, if things open up. But I keep you guys updated. Favorite Togashi character is probably Toguro. All right, guys. Well, I'm getting tired. This went on longer than I thought it was going to. Had a long day. Got to rest up, but have some more videos coming up for you soon. If there are some videos you'd like me to try and do in the coming months, some things you'd like to see on the channel, please let me know in the comments below or in the community tab. You can also follow me, Merlin Reviews at Twitter, and also my Facebook group. If you guys are part of that, I'll put the link in other videos. Doing some more movie reviews and hopefully some anime and comic discussions at some point. But we'll probably do another Q&A in a bit. But tragic scene that I laughed at, yes. In in the J.J. Abrams movie, the Star Trek Into Darkness, when they do the reverse where Spock does con. It was kind of hilarious. My mom watched it with me. She laughed, and I laughed with her. It was pretty great. Okay. All right. I'll see you guys. And remember, if you want to see some gaming, it's going to be Merlin Plays stuff on Twitch. So, night, everybody. Thank you for watching. Uh, please like, share the video. We'll do some more Q&As in the future. Hopefully, when I'm a little more energized. I like to do one during the day, so we shall see. Hopefully, I'll get a schedule coming, and we'll see. But I always say that. We'll find out. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful night, and stay magical and stay safe.